Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst with Money and Markets, here with your weekly marijuana market update. Now, I do want to make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and get notified each and every time we post a new video. I'm going to talk about some of the new videos that we have coming up. Also, we did just launch our new membership program here on YouTube, and it gives you exclusive access to even more cannabis content that we have. New videos, interviews with cannabis insiders, a monthly live chat with me, blog posts about movements in the cannabis market, all sorts of things, and we're still working on new things to release. So make sure you click the join button down below, and you can find out much more about what's available through our membership program. And I would encourage you to do so, and thank you ahead of time for doing so. Now, on with today's podcast. I got a couple things I'm going to look at today. First off, I'm going to look at a recent report that indicated kind of where the cannabis industry is heading over the next couple of years. And then I'm going to respond from an email from a viewer related to an ETF video I did about a week or so ago. Now, first, the cannabis industry. Last year was a big year for cannabis. It kind of went under the radar a bit, but it was a big year. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, cannabis producers and retailers experienced a huge boom in sales, and it was about to the tune of about $20 million, more than $20 million, $20 billion rather, in the U.S. alone. Now, the main reason for that is that even though many businesses were shut down due to the pandemic restrictions, cannabis was actually deemed an essential product in most states where it was legal. So that allowed people to go out and still get cannabis whenever they needed it. And it also meant that dispensaries were allowed to stay open. And even most of those dispensaries developed curbside pickup or even delivery options for buyers. So it added a nice convenience for cannabis users in those states where it was legal. So while other industries were slowed down to a crawl or even to a halt, cannabis business was booming. Now, we're at the midpoint of 2021, and now we can kind of look back at the strength of 2020 and see if it was just a flash in the pan or if it was a carrying trend that we should really pay attention to. Now, recent research from New Frontier Data, which is a cannabis data company, found that 2020 was more than just a flash in the pan, to be honest. Prior to 2021, quarterly cannabis sales reached their zenith in the third quarter of 2020. Combined medical and adult use sales top 5.8 billion rather for that quarter. That beat the previous high set the quarter before by nearly $1 billion. However, forward projections of the cannabis market suggest that 2021 could be even better for the cannabis industry. In the first quarter of the year, combined cannabis sales were at 5.8 billion, which matches that third quarter 2020 mark that set a record. Adult use sales reached the highest in recent history, hitting 2.7 billion in the quarter that ended on March of 2021. However, expectations are for cannabis sales to continue climbing to top 6.1 billion in the second quarter. Now, the second quarter is coming to an end. All the data is not in yet, but experts and analysis would suggest that cannabis sales combined, medical and adult use, could top 6.1 billion for the quarter. Of that figure, adult use sales will make up a near record 3.3 billion, while medical sales will actually surpass 2.9 billion, which would be a new quarterly record for medical use sales. The rationale for the projection is actually pretty simple. Customer demand isn't going away, and as more states open their doors to cannabis sales, those figures are only going to get stronger. But what does this mean looking to the future? Well, I'm glad you asked, which you didn't, I did, but it sounded better by saying you asked it anyway. In 2020, adult use and medical cannabis sales should break a record with about 20.3 billion in sales in the U.S. Using current trends and factoring in new states jumping into the legalization fray, the cannabis market could reach, are you ready for this, nearly $43 billion in sales by 2025. And that includes steady increases in both segments every year. Focusing on just medical use, the market has already hit about 4 million medical patients as of April 30 in the U.S., according to New Frontier, assuming that no other state markets are opened up between now and 2025. And that's kind of a weak thought. That number is projected to hit about 5.4 million, or about 2% of the entire U.S. population by 2025. And that's with no states adding any medical use legalization, the other 12 states electing to legalize cannabis, because 38 states and the District of Columbia allow for medical cannabis sales presently. So, of course, if any of the remaining 12 states do elect to add medical cannabis sales legally, that number is going to go higher and push the cannabis market sales even higher in the future. So the takeaway here is actually pretty simple. There are some legal headwinds that are pushing against cannabis stocks, namely a lack of movement on the federal legalization front. We all know that. But these stocks are still viable investments. You have to remember that stocks go up and they go down. You want to be in the game for the long haul because you're going to see fluctuations, especially in cannabis. It's a volatile market still because of legalization. So, cannabis stocks are still viable investments, and I do recommend that you look at them heavily for your portfolio. But again, remember, this is a long-term play, not a short-term play. It's day trading stocks, cannabis stocks is not a good idea because of short-term volatility. So it's very much, I don't want to say buy and hold, but these are long-term strategies that you have to use cannabis for. So now I also want to address a question from Joe, who emailed me at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. He said, "Hi, Matt. Great segment on the current pot ETFs out there from another viewer email. Why didn't you include TOKE or TOKE in your video update? Please advise." Joe. Good question, Joe, and I do thank you for asking. Now, again, as Joe said, I did recently look at the cannabis ETF MSOS as part of a viewer question and compared it with two other cannabis ETFs, YOLO and MJ. And I think Joe's wondering if I left out the Cambria cannabis ETF, which is TOKE, TOKE, for a reason. Now, the short answer is no, I didn't. There was no real rationale behind not including TOKE into the mix, but all these cannabis ETFs pretty much move in lockstep with each other. And as you can see with the chart I'm showing you here, their movements are all pretty much the same. There are some slight factors depending on international holdings compared to US holdings and things like that. TOKE, which is the light blue line here, moves pretty similarly to YOLO, which is the green line, MJ, the red line, and MSOS, which is the purple line in this chart. However, one thing that stands out is that TOKE actually has the lowest return percentage of all four at 43.1% over the last 12 months. The other three are all above 50% returns, including YOLO and MJ, which are actually above 60% returns. So if I include TOKE, I would actually say the same thing that I did in my previous video. MSOS and TOKE aren't bad investments to break into the cannabis market, but there are better options out there. So thank you for the question, Joe. I do appreciate that. If you have a question about the cannabis stock, about a cannabis stock or the market in general, email me at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com, or you can comment below right here on YouTube. Now, I am still looking for the right cannabis ETF to add to our cannabis watch list. I'm very close. I'm waiting for a few things to kind of see if something triggers that I'm looking for, but I'm really close. And if you want to keep track of our cannabis watch list progress, which, by the way, we're up double digits, and you want to know as soon as I add a company to the list, I encourage you to join our membership program here on YouTube. I provide weekly updates about stocks on the watch list, along with exclusive videos, including interviews with cannabis insiders. We've got a couple segments of my interview with Tommy Chong that is already on our membership program that you can check out once you become a member. There's also blog posts about cannabis investing news and much, much more. And we're working to give you our first live chat here on YouTube with me, where you can ask me just about anything related to cannabis investing. We're working on that and trying to get all the fine details figured out on that. It'll be coming out here shortly. So you'll get all that as being part of our membership community. So just click join on our YouTube page to find out all what you'll get, all the things you can access by joining. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. I'll give you even more insights, and not just in the cannabis market, but in investing in general. You can find me. My Twitter handle is @InvestWithMattC on Twitter. That's @InvestWithMattC on Twitter. That said, I want to thank all of you who watch our videos each and every week, whether you are a member or whether you're just coming to YouTube and checking it out. Doesn't matter to me. I appreciate it. Love all the follows, love all the comments that we get, all the email, all the feedback. Love it. Keep it coming. I love reading it. We do it because we want to bring you the best insights into the cannabis market as well as the broader investment landscape. So if you do have a cannabis stock you'd like me to look at, again, email me feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. We'll drop that down below. Coming up this week, we've got much more. I'll have the Bull and the Bear podcast coming up on the weekend and a lot more. You can check out our Ask Adam Anything video series. I get to sit down with Chief Investment Strategist Adam O'Dell, ask him any question you want, any question related to investing that you want. It doesn't even have to be about investing. It can be about whatever you want. I'll ask him and you'll get his take. Also, Green Zone Fortunes coder Charles Sizemore does have a weekly series called Investing with Charles. Charles Sizemore, he breaks down stocks in a very unique perspective and gives you a great insight on stocks and what you should be looking at for your portfolio. Also, check out moneymarkets.com each and every day. We provide content that is safe, sound, smart, and simple, profitable investment information for your portfolio. You can sign up for our free daily e-letter there as well. So I'm Matt Clark, research analyst for Money Markets, your host of the Bull and the Bear podcast and the Marijuana Market Update. Until next time, everyone, safe trading.